if I did have therapy, who says that I would be in the same position now? Everything was a bit fucked for a few years. I just felt like no one wanted to be my friend. What if? You know, you just think, what if? Hello, welcome back. I'm filming this in literally February and I needed to plan. I literally split my page into 4 because there's gonna be 4 videos this month based on this topic. It is Sexual Assault Awareness Week. So if you've been through childhood trauma, this video you're probably gonna relate to at least a little bit. I'm gonna start this video with going through like growing up and the physical and when I was a child, and then as we get into the other videos I'm gonna dive more into my teenage years and therapy and where I am now. This video is just gonna be full of rambling, isn't it? What happened to me when I was 5 years old. So that's the first time I've kind of shared that, because I've always shared that it was in my childhood, but it was a very, like, 5 years old is a very developmental age, you know? It's very crucial in the sense of like development and emotional development, intellectual and social development. This happened to me for about 4 months. I want to say about 4 months. And yeah, that takes a toll on your body and your brain massively. At the time I was living with my mum, him. That's just what I'll probably refer to him. Like, I don't want to put out his name or anything. Like, I really just don't even want to mention his name. Like, he doesn't even deserve that. My 2 younger siblings. Initially, I think it must have just shocked me. There's a lot I can't remember, by the way. Like, so even some of the details I'm going to tell you are purely based on what my mum has told me. And bits and pieces come to my memory, but not a lot at all. I think first of all I just want to go through like how it like physically affected me, because there's no embarrassment. It definitely affected my bladder and that region down there. Everything was a bit fucked for a few years. So I think I got UTIs at the start, and then as time went on I just had really bad bladder control at night, and that's very, very, very common for children that have been through a stressful experience. Basically, you have this hormone, I forgot how it works. You have a hormone, they kind of were acting as if I was awake, and obviously when you're awake you can go toilet, at night you can't. So that was ongoing for a couple years, I'm pretty sure. Like, it went on for ages. I then got medication and it fixed it, and I was like, thank fuck. I've never had a problem since. Like, I've never ever ever had another problem with my bladder, like not even for one night since I've come off that medication. And in terms of like physically, that's kind of the end of it until I turned into a teenager. I'm gonna try and do this in time order. So once everything happened, as well as them physical things that started to happen, socially, see, the thing is, I will never know if this is correlation or causation. It could be a bit of both. I was very much an outsider. I've always been an outsider ever since I can remember. And obviously because it happened at the age that I was like, I think I would have been at the end of reception, which is just disgusting. Like, I did my work experience. I was working with reception, not because of that reason, but it's just kind of how it worked out. And I was looking at these children thinking like, God, like, that is so horrible. He went to prison, obviously, but not for long enough. Not for long enough. The original sentence was 5 years, but with good behaviour, probably 3. So we're talking, he's been out already for a decade. That kind of messed me up, because my whole growing up and teenage years, when I started to realise what was going on, I sat there and thought like, where is he? What if? You know, you just think, what if? Because there was a situation where I was out in town and my mum's gone and said his name, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And she said, oh, she doesn't know if it was really him. It could have been. And I don't remember what he looks like, I can't lie. I don't remember what he looks like, and I don't remember what that guy looked like, whether it was him or not. So it really just threw me off guard. Did I just see him? Did I not? Like, I genuinely think my brain blocked that out, just that I just didn't have to think about him. I think he has been advised not to to stay away from like where he knows I would probably be, because it happened at such a young age and such a developmental age. I was so confused and I was so lost, and I hate feeling lost, and that has stuck with me my whole life. Like, I hate the unknown, I hate feeling lost, I hate feeling confused. As I said, socially I was very much an outsider and always have been. The thing is, when I was younger, like, I remember I moved schools a bit, so often I would just have one friend. Like, I remember in my first school I had one friend, in my second school I had two friends, but I felt like they were closer and I was kind of just there. And then in my third school I had one best friend, and then someone else joined, and then I kind of had like two best friends, but I was more best friends with one of them than I was the other. I've never been able to just like get along with everyone, but the thing is, I've learnt that people did like me, just no one really approached me, and I don't know how to take that. Why am I such an outsider, and why have I been such an outsider my whole life? But when it got to secondary school, I had a boyfriend in year 7, but like, I did not get attention, and I'll talk about this more in a different video because I feel like this is the creeping into my teenage years, but I just always felt a sense, I think, of rejection. And of course I'm in a healthy relationship now, but back then I definitely felt like an outsider, like I didn't ever fit in. I still remember, like, in primary school people would leave me out, or like people didn't want to play with me, and the teachers would like try and get me to play with girls, and they just didn't want to play with me and they didn't want to talk to me. Or I think I joined my first or second school, so I would have been like really young, and I know this isn't their fault, like, we were children, like, I get that, don't worry, but I just felt like no one wanted to be my friend. Like, when I joined one of my first schools, someone was asked to show me around, sort of thing, and she just outright refused. And that's, I think, one of the first times I remember just people being like, who the fuck's this bitch? Like, I don't want to know her. I don't know whether it is a causation thing because of what happened to me, and I'm a bit like socially just not I don't fit in everywhere, you know. Not everyone's going to fit in everywhere, but I've never had a group of girls. I've never had a proper group. I've been in a group, but not in the group. I don't know how to explain it. It would make sense if you relate, but socially I've always just been not the favourite. And I've also had no therapy growing up, and this is quite an interesting take. I genuinely kind of think, like, if someone was to try and do therapy on me when I was like 5, 6, 7, they probably would have felt like that too, that like they were just trying to put all the pieces together and pieces were falling apart and you just couldn't quite like finish the puzzle. I guess that's kind of the best analogy I can really give, because I feel like that's always what I've been like with myself. I've tried to get clarity on so much and try and clarify my feelings and what happened, and I'm never going to know all the ins and outs. I'm never going to know all the details. If I did have therapy, who says that I would be in the same position now, you know? Oh, a massive point I've literally just forgotten. Massive point. Physically and emotionally, I went through temper tantrums. Quite bad ones until I was about 10 or 11. I think I had my last one. Like toddler tantrums almost. Like throwing, shouting, screaming, crying, banging, just being an absolute nuisance for years. How you take that, I don't know. Like, that's probably a very usual response. But as I said, what if I had therapy? What if someone was there? Apparently social services were there, like, weekly, but like, they didn't do anything because they thought, oh, she's just a normal child, we're just gonna let her carry on as normal. Bitch, if you're a social worker, you're not a psychologist. And it doesn't take Einstein to figure out that even if someone looks normal, they might not be developmentally, mentally, emotionally, even physically normal. Hello? No one got me therapy, and I do hold resentment to people about that, because what if I would be in a completely different place? What if I was a completely different child? I was so shy, so reserved. I was just until I got to secondary school where I opened up a bit more, I was just in the background, in literally like the corner of the room type girl. Like, I didn't just have this, I did have other things that went on in my childhood that definitely would have affected me negatively, but this was just the start. I just want to make a point, because I feel like this is probably quite common. It does make me worry for my future children, and I can't help but think that, like, you might think like the chances of it happening to me and then the same thing happening again to my child is so slim. I just don't know what I would do if I found myself in a situation where my child went through the same thing. I genuinely would how would you even navigate? Because you've been through it yourself and then you've watched the same thing happen. I just know that I would be so proactive in help therapy. I don't care how normal my child seems, I would be so proactive. And yeah, it just baffles me. It just baffles me that no one looked at me and thought she needs some sort of help. The only thing I remember is in primary school, I actually did go to a group. It was called the Duckling Group, and I'm pretty sure it's for kids that have been through something, but that's not therapy. And the fact is, therapy for children is literally like building blocks. Someone needs to sort out child therapy, because that's not the way to go. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed, but it was not a happy video. But if you've been through like anything of that I've spoken about today, or you even relate on a similar level, I'm really just want to put out that, like, I'm sorry to anyone that's been through something traumatic or anything similar, because I'm here to make people feel less alone, and I promise you that you're not alone. Like, even if you feel like your experience is so unique, there's so many ways you can connect with people and relate. I just honestly want to I just want to be honest. I just want to be honest and put this out there, because I think people deserve to hear information from not just professionals. The professionals can be great, but also people that have been through it themselves. You'll never get such valuable advice from people other than like maybe professionals, but like the people that have been through it, that's where you're going to get your most valuable advice, and they could actually talk through their experience like I did today. But yeah, I'll see you all next week.